Hi, I'm Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm in Orlando, Florida, and welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. Today we have a special guest with us, Peggy Hoyt. She is a longtime friend and a mutual animal lover. We just both were talking about how we probably love animals way more than or way ahead of where we are practicing law or being lawyers. Anyway, so Peggy is a lifelong animal advocate, pet mom, and attorney. She is the founding partner of Hoyt Bryan, LLC. She's dual certified by the Florida Bar in wills, trusts, and estates, as well as in elder law. So she's the founder of Animal Care Trust USA, a Florida not-for-profit corporation whose mission is to keep loving or loved pets in loving homes. So Peggy is a well-known public speaker. She's written several books, one which I particularly liked, All My Children Wear Fur Coats, How to Leave a Legacy to Your Pet. Peggy got her undergraduate degree at Stetson, as well as her master's in business administration and her law degree at Stetson. So, Peggy, I know that's a mouthful. If I read your whole bio, we'd be here all day. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. So you want to talk about animals today a little bit with the law?
Absolutely. My favorite thing to talk about.
Okay, so let's start off with how are pets looked at legally under Florida law?
So the sad thing is, Tom, that pets are still considered to be personal property. And this is true despite the fact that most of us think of our pets as members of our family. But when it comes to the law, we still treat them like they're a table or a chair, for example.
Right. And I have seen so many times in my family law cases where people are fighting over the pets. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, right? So let's talk about a pet nuptial. What is that?
So a pet nuptial is just a fun way of saying that a couple has come to an agreement in advance of the dissolution of their relationship about how the pets will be cared for in the event that that relationship ends. So a pet nuptial should really address things like where the pet's going to live, how they're going to share time with the pet, who's going to take care of the costs of the pet. Are they going to be responsible for each feeding the pet at their own homes and at their own expense? How are they going to share veterinary expenses? Can they travel out of state with the pet? Can the pet be bred? There's just a whole host of questions that would come up in a conversation around a pet nuptial.
Right. So you and I both have probably seen many cases where there is no pet nuptial agreement or no prior agreement as to what's going to happen with the family pets. So if you don't have that, what happens then?
So Florida has not progressed very far in that direction. Our family law courts don't have any provision for pets. And so under the personal property theory, they are equitably distributed, meaning that they would be shared half and half, or sometimes what happens is you try to put a value on a pet so that if I get the dog and the dog is worth $500, that you get an extra $500. But I think we would all agree, if we truly love our pets, that our pets are priceless and it's impossible to put a price tag on their head. And in many ways, people want to treat their pets like children and have those same kinds of time sharing or custody sharing type agreements.
Right. And I've seen some real disasters in family law cases where the parties are fighting over the pets. And so you have like a pet custody battle. I even saw a case where the trial court ordered the mom and dad basically to go out to Lake Eola and to pace off 50 paces from each other. And then a third party brought the family dog to the middle. And then the mom and dad started calling the dog, and the judge ruled that whoever the dog went to got custody of the dog. It's kind of sad kind of situation to see, right?
I think that is really pretty sad because I'm sure both of those people love that dog. And it was really kind of unfair to put the dog in the middle to have to run one way or the other. I would always guess that my dogs would probably run to me primarily because I'm the one that feeds them the most often. And, that wouldn't really be fair to my husband either. I think that dispute resolution around pets, though, is well suited for mediation, where parties can come to their own agreements and not be subject to some of the frivolous rulings that might come out of a court environment.
Right. Another really difficult situation. I recently did another video on a case that came out of the District Court of Appeal where the husband was, he had a dog prior to the marriage. And so that was ruled by the court his non-marital property. Then after the divorce, his former wife would not give back the dog, and they had to go back to the trial court, and then they didn't like the ruling there, and they had to take that to the district court. So you had the appellate attorney's fees, the trial attorney's fees. It was the case I remember was called Springer v. Springer because it reminded me of either a Springer Spaniel or the Jerry Springer Show. So in order to avoid that, you've got the solution there, and to do a prior agreement or a pet nuptial agreement. Right.
I think that's really important, Tom, that when you're acquiring a pet as a couple, that you really do think through what's going to happen to the pets if something happens to the relationship. And that kind of leads us in, I think, to kind of our next topic, which is because our pets are like family members, we also need to include them as part of our estate planning.
Right. And you've written at least one book on that. I know you've spoken on that and been very involved in that. Tell us some of your experience there.
Well, that truly is my passion because as an estate planning and elder law attorney, I'm talking to people every day about creating their wills, creating trusts. And the good news is that all 50 states and the District of Columbia recognize pet trusts. And what that means is that a pet can actually be the beneficiary of a trust. I can't leave $100 to my dog, but I can leave money in a trust for the benefit of my dog, where my dog is the beneficiary of that pet trust. And there's enforcement mechanisms because dogs, as you know, cats, dogs, horses, they don't have standing in court and certainly can't go to court and represent themselves. So the pet trust statutes also provide for enforcement on behalf of the pets.
Right. And I think that's really great. I mean, I know we both love our animals, our dogs and cats, and we also have a lot of reptiles in our family. I know you have larger animals too. So have you seen any movement in Florida toward treating pets not like a personal property, but more like family members?
I think we are starting to see that kind of movement, and especially in the domestic violence area, where pets are now protected under domestic violence statutes and can be awarded custody to the person who is the battered spouse in the relationship. And that's also a factor that's considered when issuing an injunction, whether or not a pet has been the victim of animal cruelty or threats of animal cruelty.
Right, and that's been included in Chapter 741 of the Florida statute. So that's great. Okay, before we head out, would love to hear a healthy tip from you for our viewers.
Oh, so a healthy tip. I think that if you have not reviewed your estate planning in the last 2 to 3 years, this would probably be a good time to get it out and make sure that it is relevant to your current life situation, the current law situation, and your current legacy, the way you want to leave assets for the people and the pets that you love.
All right, well, good. Well, for our viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this video today and found some value in it. If you have, please hit that like and subscribe button and that bell icon. If you have any questions for either Peggy or me, please leave us a question or a comment below. We'd love to respond to that. If you'd like to hear an answer, if you've got ideas for new videos in the future, let me know that also. And I have enjoyed this today. Peggy, thank you again so much for being on the channel.
Thanks, Tom. And Piper says,
oh, what a cutie.
all right.
What a cutie. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.